Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that, well, it's touching all of us in this super connected world. Cyber threats, they seem to be everywhere.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why Europe's brought in this big piece of legislation, the NIS2 directive. That's EU 2022-2555 if you want the formal number. It's a major step up for cybersecurity across the Union.
Right. And our job today is to really unpack what NIS2 actually means in practice, especially these risk management measures everyone's talking about, and what they mean for organizations like yours.
Yeah, we've got some good material to draw on. There's the draft guidance from NCSC Ireland on the risk management measures, which is pretty detailed.
And we're also looking at insights from the Compliance Hub's NIS2 guide and ANISA's technical implementation guidance, so a solid base.
Definitely.
So the goal here is simple. Give you a clear, easy-to-grasp understanding of NIS2. You want to get past the headlines, give you stuff you can actually use for compliance and, building that cyber resilience.
Think of it as your quick guide to getting up to speed on this really critical EU law that's, already affecting vital services.
Okay, let's dive in then. So NIS2, it's building on the first NIS directive, right? What's the main aim?
The core idea is to create a, quote, high common level of security for network and information systems across the whole EU, basically raising the cybersecurity baseline everywhere.
And the timeline is important here. People might think this is still way off, but it's not, is it?
Not at all. That's a key point. It actually came into force back on January 16th, 2023. Member states had until October 17th, 2024 to get it into their own laws. Meaning the legal requirements start kicking in from October 18th, 2024. So, it's live. It's happening right now.
Okay, so urgent stuff. Beyond the deadlines, what are the big picture goals? What's really changed with NIS2?
Well, fundamentally, it's about pushing for much better risk management and significantly stricter reporting when incidents happen. It covers more sectors, demands more from management. It's about making Europe's digital backbone much more robust.
You mentioned more sectors. The scope's expanded quite a bit, hasn't it? From 7 to 15 sectors. And this size cap rule, how does that change things?
Oh, massively. The size cap rule basically pulls in all medium and large companies in those 15 sectors. Doesn't matter if they were specifically mentioned before or not.
So size is the key trigger now within those sectors.
Exactly. And it draws a line between essential entities, think energy, transport, banking, health, key digital infrastructure, ICT service management, the really high criticality ones.
Right.
And important entities. That covers other critical areas like postal services, waste management, chemicals, food production, manufacturing, digital providers like online marketplaces or search engines, research organizations, even domain name registration.
Wow. Okay. So that's a much, much wider net than before. Many more organizations need to pay attention.
Definitely. Even companies that maybe didn't see themselves as critical infrastructure before might well be in scope now.
And this all hazards approach, what does that really mean in practice? Is it just about cyber attacks?
That's a common misunderstanding. No, it's much broader. All hazards means preparing for anything that could disrupt your services.
Yeah.
Yes, cyber attacks, but also physical things, equipment failure, power outages, fires, floods, even insider threats or critical staff shortages.
So it's about overall operational resilience, not just digital defense.
Precisely. Managing all sorts of risks to minimize the impact on the services people rely on. Digital and physical security are really intertwined here.
Okay, and this next bit seems huge, the accountability for management. Top brass are directly on the hook now.
Absolutely. This is a game changer. Management boards have to personally approve the cybersecurity risk management measures and oversee them. They can't just delegate it away entirely.
And there are serious consequences for getting it wrong.
Very serious. We're talking substantial fines. For essential entities, it could be up to 10 million euros or 2% of their total global annual turnover, whichever figure is higher.
2% of global turnover, that's potentially enormous.
It is. And for important entities, it's still significant, up to 7 million euros or 1.4% of global turnover. This makes cybersecurity an unavoidable board-level concern. Personal and corporate liability are very real prospects.
With stakes that high, getting good guidance is obviously critical. I imagine resources like www.compliancehub.wiki are becoming essential for companies trying to figure all this out. It's a great place to understand these frameworks.
For sure. Navigating global privacy and security rules is complex.
And then actually implementing the solutions to meet these standards. That's where something like www.cisomarketplace.com comes in, helping find the right security tools and services.
Yeah, finding the right partners is key.
Okay, so we've got the what and why of NIS2. Let's get into the how. The NCSC guidance lays out 16 specific cybersecurity risk management measures, the RMMs. What's the philosophy behind these?
The core principle is that they must be appropriate and proportionate. It's not a one-size-fits-all checklist. What you implement has to match your specific risk profile, the size of your organization, and the potential impact if things go wrong.
Makes sense. So how are these 16 RMMs structured? Can we group them?
Yeah, we can break them down. The first group, RMM001 to RMM005, is really about governance and policy. This sets the foundation.
Right, starting at the top. This sounds like it reinforces that point about management accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
RMM001 is straightforward registration. If you meet the criteria, you have to register with your national authority, like the NCSC here in Ireland.
Simple enough.
But then, RMM002, governance, gets serious. It explicitly says management boards must approve the measures, make sure there are enough resources, and oversee the whole thing. And, interestingly, it mandates training for management so they can actually understand and assess the cyber risks properly.
So the board needs to be cyber literate, essentially.
That's the idea. It shifts it from being just a tech issue to a core strategic responsibility.
Okay, what else in this governance bucket?
RMM003 is about having a clear network and information security policy written down, kept up to date, and communicated. RMM004 demands a specific risk management policy, how you identify, analyze, evaluate, and treat cyber risks, fully backed by the board and built into how you operate.
And RMM005.
Continuous improvement. This isn't a one-off project. You need to regularly reassess risks, review how well your controls are working, and adapt as threats change. That all hazards assessment needs to be ongoing. Set it and forget. It just won't cut it.
Right, constantly evolving. Okay, let's move to the next set, RMM006 to RMM001. These sound more like the practical, hands-on security stuff, core security practices.
That's a good way to put it. RMM006 is about basic cyber hygiene security training. This covers the fundamentals, keep software updated, use strong passwords, back up your data, MFA, you know the drill. But crucially, it also mandates ongoing role-specific training for staff to build that security-aware culture.
The human element again.
Always key. Then RMM007 is asset management. Sounds simple, but it's vital. You need a proper inventory of all your systems, hardware, software, data, know what you have, know how critical it is, and manage it securely through its whole life. Can't protect what you don't know about.
True. And RMM008, Human Resources Security. More people focus.
Yep. This tackles risks related to personnel. Think security awareness during onboarding, clear rules about acceptable use, role-based access controls, background checks where needed and appropriate, and processes for when people leave. The whole employee life cycle.
Including the joiners, movers, leavers, the JML process.
Exactly. That falls under RMM009, access control, which covers both logical access like logins, passwords, privileges, and physical access to sensitive areas. It stresses limiting shared accounts, tightly managing admin rights, logging access attempts, and again, really pushing multi-factor authentication, MFA.
MFA seems to be a recurring theme.
It's a baseline expectation now. Then RMM0106 brings in environmental and physical security. We often focus on digital, but this is about securing the physical environment, protecting equipment from damage, unauthorized access, fire, water, power failure. Think server rooms, access controls, secure cabling.
Good point. And RMM011.
Cryptography, encryption, and authentication. This mandates clear policies on when and how to use encryption to protect data, both stored data and data being transmitted. It also covers secure key management, which is critical for encryption to be effective, and securing communications like voice and video calls.
Okay, so that covers the core practices, but NIS2 goes further, looking at the wider ecosystem and resilience, right? That takes us to the last batch, RMM012 to RMM016, operational resilience and beyond.
Yes, and this includes some really significant new areas. RMM012, supply chain security is a big one. Organizations are now explicitly responsible for managing cybersecurity risks coming from their direct suppliers and service providers.
What does that involve, practically?
It means things like assessing your suppliers' security postures, maybe requiring certifications, writing security expectations and incident notification duties into contracts, and monitoring them. It's about understanding that your security is linked to theirs.
And I saw a specific mention of free and open source software, FOSS, in the guidance here. Why is that singled out?
That's a really important addition. So much modern software relies on open source components, but they can introduce vulnerabilities if not managed properly. NIS2 requires entities to assess the risks associated with the FOSS they use, track components, and ideally engage with the open source projects to help ensure you're maintained securely.
That sounds challenging, especially for complex software. Realistically, how quickly can organizations get a handle on that?
It's a major task, no doubt. It requires visibility into software composition, which many organizations are still developing. It will take time and effort. It really underlines the depth of what NIS2 is asking for.
Okay. Then RMM013 security and acquisition, development, and maintenance. This seems to cover the whole life cycle of systems.
It does. From buying new tech securely to building software using secure software development lifecycle principles, things like cybersecurity by design, zero trust architectures right through to managing configurations, patching vulnerabilities promptly, handling changes safely, and having processes for vulnerability disclosure. It also covers network security basics like segmentation and malware protection.
Building security in, not bolting it on.
That's the goal. Then RMM014 is incident handling. What happens when you do get hit?
What's the key challenge here for most places?
Moving from just having a plan on paper to actually being able to execute it effectively under pressure. This RMM demands clear policies, defined roles, and tested procedures for detection, analysis, containment, response, and recovery, all done in a timely manner. Plus, doing proper post-incident reviews to learn from it.
Yep.
Getting that speed and the learning loop right is often tough.
And linked to that, RMM015 incident reporting. The timelines here sound incredibly tight.
They are very strict. For any significant incident, there's a multi-stage notification process to your national CSArt, like the NCSC. First, an early warning within 24 hours of becoming aware of it.
24 hours, that's fast.
Very fast. Then a more detailed notification within 72 hours. After that, status updates if asked, and a final comprehensive report within 1 month. If the incident is ongoing, you keep reporting. Plus, you have to tell your customers or service recipients if they might be affected. It's a significant step up in reporting requirements.
Wow. Okay, finally, RMM016 business continuity and crisis management. Planning for the worst.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
It requires proper business continuity and disaster recovery plans, or BCPDR. These need to be based on a business impact analysis understanding what's critical. You need defined recovery time objectives, RTOs, recovery point objectives, RPOs, and service delivery objectives, SDOs.
So knowing how quickly you need to get back online, how much data loss is acceptable, and what level of service you must maintain.
Exactly. It also covers having solid backup and redundancy strategies and clear crisis management processes for major events. And importantly, these plans aren't just documents. They need to be tested regularly and updated. It accepts that incidents will happen, so recovery is key.
That's a comprehensive set of measures. It really paints a picture. Now, how does this all fit with other EU stuff? What's NIS's role here?
NIS, the EU cybersecurity agency, is crucial. They've published technical implementation guidance. Now, it's important to note this guidance isn't legally binding itself.
It's still valuable.
Hugely valuable. It provides practical advice, examples of evidence you might use to show compliance, and maps NIS2 requirements to establish standards like ISO 27001 and the NIST cybersecurity framework. It's especially aimed at cross-border digital infrastructure and ICT service providers. Think cloud, data centers, managed service providers, social networks. It's the closest thing to an official how-to guide.
Okay, good resource to know about. What about overlap with other big EU regulations like DORA for finance or the AI Act? Does it get confusing?
They've tried to manage the overlap. For the financial sector, DORA, the Digital Operational Resilience Act, actually takes priority over NIS2 for most ICT risk management and incident reporting rules. So financial firms mainly follow DORA for that, which simplifies things a bit for them.
So DORA trumps NIS2 for banks and insurers on those points, and AI.
With the AI Act, if you're using AI systems and you're in a sector covered by NIS2, then yes, you need to comply with both. The idea is they should complement each other. Your NIS2 cybersecurity measures should help manage AI risks, and thinking about AI security might inform your broader NIS2 approach. It's about integrating security across all your tech.
Makes sense. But with all these moving parts and different countries implementing, are there challenges cropping up?
Yeah, some concerns have been raised. Things like potential inconsistencies between how different member states interpret and enforce the rules, or maybe needing clearer definitions for essential versus important in some edge cases. That's why there are calls for more harmonization and better information sharing across the EU to really hit that high common level goal consistently.
And looping back to NIS's guidance, there was a strong message about everything being a living document. Why is that so fundamental?
Because the threat landscape never stands still, right? New vulnerabilities emerge, attacker tactics change, your own systems evolve. So your policies, your risk assessments, your incident plans, none of them can be static. They have to be reviewed regularly. NIS2 suggests at least annually or whenever there's a major incident or change to make sure they're still fit for purpose. It's about continuous adaptation.
Building an adaptive security culture, not just ticking boxes.
That's it, exactly.
So, wrapping this up, it's clear NIS2 is way more than just another compliance hurdle. It really feels like a foundational shift for digital security and resilience across Europe.
It definitely impacts everyone, from the energy companies and hospitals to the online platforms you use every day. Understanding these measures is vital for protecting services, keeping data safe, and frankly, maintaining trust in the digital world.
It's about building that collective defense. And as we've discussed, navigating this evolving world of cyber threats and compliance isn't easy. For staying informed on frameworks like NIS2, resources like www.compliancehub.wiki are incredibly helpful.
Yeah, keeping up with the rules is half the battle.
And for finding the actual security solutions and expertise to implement these measures, checking out www.cisomarketplace.com can connect you with the tools and providers you might need.
Having the right support makes a huge difference.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with, given this push for an all-hazards view and continuous improvement?
Yeah, the question becomes, how do organizations go beyond just complying with NIS2? How can you actually use these principles to build a truly proactive, forward-looking security culture? One that doesn't just react but tries to anticipate and get ahead of whatever the next big digital threat might be.